Yo, what's up, guys? This is Magamo, and a couple days, maybe weeks ago, I don't know, I asked you guys to help me out to make some new enemy types for my indie game, Senzero. This is just to go back and explain it. It's a third-person action game. Essentially, you're in a virtual world, and you fight your way out. Different enemies spawn. There are going to be different like combat mechanics. It's mostly a melee game, so you don't get guns even though the enemies do. We're going to turn invincibility on so we can explain this. And yeah, hopefully you guys will have a demo up in a few weeks to a couple months to be able to play it. But more than anything, I've been getting you guys help on different enemy ideas, mechanics, that type of thing. So recently I asked you guys to help me come up with some enemy ideas. I would have posted this video a few days ago, but I tumbled down a different rabbit hole that we'll get to by the end of this video. All right, so I asked you guys for enemy ideas, essentially non-humanoid enemy ideas. So a lot of my enemies are already human, like you can see these guys. Well, they're not humans, they're AI, they're constructs, but you know, they've got 2 legs, feet, guns, melee weapons, that type of thing. But I wanted non-humanoid enemies of the buffer type. So ideas that you guys gave me for enemies that didn't look human and would offer buffs to some of the other enemies or change the way combat felt or whatever. So let's just get rid of these guys so I can show you guys some of the stuff that you guys came up with. We're just gonna try to knock him off there. Okay, bye. Have a nice day. Whoa, we're just gonna do that. And we just lost our enemy. Good freaking job, man. All right, I guess we gotta restart. You know, that tends to happen when you have a bit of a sandbox going on. Things tend to just have a mind of their own. Yeah. Okay, so let's get rid of these 2 enemies, and I can show you guys. If you guys are curious about who gave some of these ideas, I tried to make a video where I gave credit, but man, that video ended up being like 40 minutes. It was too much. So you can go back and look at some of the comments and see. All right, so our first enemy is the shielder. I don't know if I showed you guys this one already, but essentially it's a bit. That's what we call these little guys. And he will find one target, he'll shield them. You can't deal any damage to the shielded enemy, so you know, you got to go off and kind of deal with him. To be able to tell the difference, I added some kind of background things so you can see, oh, the little things, you know, it's a circle, so it's kind of a shield. It's a shield, trust me, bro. So we're going to kill him. That brings the shield down, and now we can attack that enemy. So instead of just running at every enemy, don't blow my enemy up, sir. Instead of just running at every enemy, you kind of have to make decisions. All right, this is the Führer guy. So he runs at him, and he passes that buff off once he gets to him. So the idea of that enemy that you guys kind of gave me an idea for was that he would make that enemy have more health, have him do more damage, and if I don't want that to happen, then I should probably kill him before he gets the buff off on the other guy. But he's already gotten the buff off, so what do we do now? According, you know, to some of you guys' design, we just kill him and problem solved. And that enemy should lose that buff once he's gone. Yep, now he has normal damage and normal health, so we just kill him and problem solved. Again, you know, it incentivizes you not to just wait. No, actually, we may have a bug here. He got to keep his health. No. Okay, we got to fix that bug. He should lose his health once the other enemy dies. All right, and finally, this is a variation on the other one. See right there, instead of the enemy running at the other enemy to give him the buff, you get a little charge up meter that tells you, hey, you have about 4 seconds before he passes a buff off to that enemy so you can stop him. It's just a variation of the enemy that has to like run at him and make contact. So I'm curious, what do you guys think is more fair, right? An enemy that charges up and then buffs him, or an enemy that runs at it and gives him the buff? Those are the two options. Now he is buffed, but he isn't invincible like the shielder guy. So let's kill him, and now he's gonna charge up and he's gonna pass the buff to the other guy. You can kind of see the time you have. You see him charging up, and bingo. Once the charge is done, he does that. So I would have had to kill him in that 4 seconds or whatever time we set. before the buff gets passed. And of course, I'll make the time slower. I'll make the buff stronger. So, you know, you're like, oh my God, I need to kill him before that happens. Don't look at him. He's a secret. Right. So those are the 3 ideas you guys came up with. Now, I think there was one other thing someone came up with. It was just the basic hexagon bit enemy that would just shoot at you, right? So a lot of the ideas that you guys gave me were more like boss type ideas, I think. So for instance, I saw this from a couple people. So this is just a basic enemy that this one can actually fire at you, and of course he has a different effect around him, so hopefully you'll be able to tell the difference, or I'm probably going to add different ways for you guys to tell the difference. But mostly he's aggressive versus the other one's being supportive. He's not shooting at me anymore for some reason. But if he comes away from this corner, oh, there he is. We can do this. There you go. So you guys gave me the idea that there should be a slime type enemy, right? An enemy that whenever you attack it or kill it, it splits into smaller enemies. Now, I only had him split once, but he can split several times. I think, yeah, I limited here. But that's a general idea. That if you don't kill it really, really quickly, it'll split. So maybe like you start hitting it, and we'll actually hit play on that one more time. Maybe you start hitting it and you have a limited amount of time before it splits, so you have to kill it really, really fast. You guys have some great ideas, and I really appreciate the help. Now, there are a ton of ideas that I haven't implemented yet, or I haven't found a place for. It doesn't mean they weren't great ideas. It just means I can only do so much with limited time. All right, so we hit him. That timer is actually for the split off. So you do get a little bit of a warning, and then we can kind of go off and kill this little guy. Oh, he split again. Yeah, he is allowed to split again. Let's and like I said, again, I'll make him split more than once, so it'll be good time. So you'll hit him one time, he'll split into 2 or split into 3, like you would see, you know, in certain games. Like I said, you guys had some super great ideas. I really liked all of them. But that's the general direction with the non-humanoid enemies. And I'll probably be picking up some more ideas out of that comment section. But those are really good. I really appreciate you guys. Now, finally, I have to show you guys the rabbit hole that I fell down that caused this video to be as delayed as it is. And that's the rabbit hole of enemy engagement. When you guys started giving me enemy ideas, I started realizing, oh wait, some of the enemies I've done, they need a big change. So essentially what used to happen is a melee enemy would just run at you and he'd take a swing. You know, they would just continue to follow you and you'd kite backwards. And I realized, you know, I actually hate when games do that, except from zombie games, of course. Zombies are just gonna run at you. But an enemy with a katana might be a little bit smarter. So I've made some tweaks to the katana wielding enemy, because they should be smarter. So now, instead of them just running at you, they should be a little better at positioning. So they'll sprint at you in the beginning like that, and then once they get close up, you know, they'll kind of start to take a position that's advantageous. You know, they'll try to flank around you. They'll try to make sure they keep their distance. And of course, if you try to run away, they will try to pick up that distance. Now, I haven't balanced the run speeds for each one of these situations. Like, for instance, I do think they can run at you a little bit faster, and I think when you walk at them, I want them to either jump back or run back faster than that. So right now, like if I get close to him, he kind of backs away from me really, really slow. I want that to be faster. Like maybe he'll backflip out the way, or, you know, his speed will pick up. But the positioning is pretty sound, right? Like they'll try to get around you and try to get in a better spot. The ranged enemies were already doing something very similar, other than the fact that I wanted them to take cover sometimes, not all the time, maybe sometimes take cover. But the melee enemies were really dumb. And the idea of you know, I would imagine fighting with a katana takes at least, you know, some base intelligence. So I don't know if this is base intelligence as much as at least they're faking it, right? At least they're faking like, hey, we're not complete idiots. We don't just run at you. We do try to do whatever. Now, they're not attacking now because I just wanted you guys to see them reposition. But of course, they'll, one will attack and then the other one will be allowed, and then so they won't all swing at once. Kind of like the Arkham games, or I don't know what other Arkham type fighting games come to mind that you guys are thinking of. But those are the changes. I am sorry it took so long for this video. I made those enemies within like 48 hours of you guys giving me those ideas. But I fell down this rabbit hole of trying to make it not smarter, not trying to make the enemies smarter, but making them more convincing. That's the word, right? Like these guys aren't smarter. They're just a little more convincing. So like for instance, before, when one enemy would swing at you, the other ones would just stand there and do nothing. So now instead of standing there and doing nothing, they're kind of strafing around. They'll be playing animations. Maybe they'll bark out some voice lines or something. Oh, he's won. Get him or something, right? Something where when one's dashing at you, the others, or at least they're doing these little movements and repositioning and stuff. So the game feels more alive, right? All right. I hope you guys enjoyed the update to the game, and we'll keep them coming. Hopefully it won't take 10 days this time. Hopefully I won't fall down another rabbit hole like this. All right, talk to you guys later.